Hi guys, so for this episode of AI Moves Explained, I would be talking about this kind of opening where black invaded the 3-3 and then black approached the corner and then he got pincered. So the pincering makes sense because white has a wall, white wants to develop this side of the potential. So the question is, after black plays this knight's move, why has this one space jump become less and less popular these days? What has AI changed? How has AI changed our thinking about this move? So basically, nowadays AI would recommend the small knights move, and I can tell you right away that the small knights move has a lot less severe cutting points and it has much better aji. And it should be pretty obvious because this already generates two severe cutting points. So let's look at the possible variation that black can play right now. So the simplest one is that black can just keep pushing. In the past, some textbooks has written this sequence down as Joseki, where when white double hanes, black can now push and cut. White cannot atari here. If he does, there will be a really obvious double atari. So when black cuts, white must defend. And then black gets a really nice sente attachment right at the 3-3 point. And then here, black can atari and then extend, and then white can extend if she wants to. But here you can see that black has built a tremendous amount of influence, plus black gained the 3-3 point, which means that he can, with just a C18 extension, he can just live in the corner, which means that this stone is susceptible to a really severe pincer later on. So if you have to play, it's recommended that you extend here instead of playing the double hane. So that is one of the ways to use the aji of these two cutting points. That is, black can just push, build a huge wall, and then counter pincer. Another really good way to use the aji here is a simple 3-3 attachment. And it works when the ladder is in black's favor. So for example, here white has 4 possible responses, and I can tell you right away, this one is wrong, this one is slow, this one has really bad aji, and this is the only acceptable one. So let's go over these ones one by one. Okay, so the simple one is this. This is a really old Joseki where black takes the corner and white takes the side. So this is really not good for white, but it was a really old Joseki because so it's not good because black is already alive. There is so much space in the corner that black is pretty much alive. And if black is alive, then this moyo can be easily reduced. So this pincer basically becomes extremely ineffective if white plays like that. And regarding this one has extremely bad aji because here black needs to make good shape. So this shape where you get tiger's mouth and a stick pointing at here where you can potentially generate 2 cutting points, this kind of shape is usually really, really hard to kill, and black has basically a lot of flexibility. Here, the critical move for white would be hane, because if black gets the sente descend threatening to capture these 2 stones, then black, took out the entire corner and is damaging white's territory. So the hane is really big. So here, in order for black to maximize his flexibility, with his really good shape, here black just needs to generate some cutting points and then play hane on 2 stones and then just observe how white would deal with these cutting points. Let's say white defends very passively, then now black will play the double hane. Let's look at this carefully. Like, why cannot black play the double hane right now? I mean, you can do it, and let's say if white simply defends, then later on, if you play this hane again, white is not going to play a tiger's mouth like this, right? White can definitely play this hane. But previously, if you play the hane first, there are too many cutting points. White is really not gonna have the guts to play this. In fact, let me show you what would happen if white plays like this. Black simply extends, build a pretty nice wall. Say white, needs to defend this side of the territory, make good use of this wall. Then black now has a really severe cut. This cut threatening a double atari. White connects, black extends, white can jump out, black can extend once more, and now this is the really good move that black can play. So here, how many liberties does white have? 1, 2, 3, black has 5. So if white just plays like this, this semi is not going so well for white. Let's just say, for simplicity purposes, let's just assume white plays like this, and then you can immediately see how white is just dead. So white can actually generate a ko, but even so, this ko is extremely not favorable for white. Which means that at the moment black extends, white cannot bend here. White needs to make eyes. And here, black has a really good move to manage these 3 stones. Black is not going to crawl on the second line. Black is going to play attachment. White bends to capture. Black clamps. And if white hane captures, then black can take another sente bend. This is a sente. White cannot tenuki because of a really simple atari, and white is going to die on either side. So here, white is having a really hard time finding a good move. Let's say if white plays a jump, then black can just lean on white and start building up the potential on this side. And white's territory is actually limited to just this. 6, 8, 10, 11-ish. White got about 11 points, which is really painful. So this is a really nice way of using the aji and get sente moves on both sides and profiting a lot from it. And notice how strong black's eye shape is. This group is pretty much alive. So yeah, white does not. If white plays like this, white is bound to have a ton of terrible aji. So and let's talk about this. This one is a pretty simple reading problem. If the ladder works for black, I can just cut whichever side, let's say this side, and then that's it. Or if cut, white connects and black just ladders this stone. So this is really not good for white. So finally, let's talk about this move, which the intention is pretty obvious. That is, white is going to capture this 3/3 stone. Here, black must get some compensation. Black cuts on the outside. I know a lot of times we want to cut from the inside to reduce the influence that your opponent would get, but in this case it is correct to cut the outside. Let's look at what happens if white captures. So everything in the corner just dies. So because this variation is really bad for white, That's why black can cut on the outside. So here, say white connects, black can ladder this stone. So it turns out that this variation, it is not entirely unplayable for white, because it turns out white's cut here is also a ladder breaker. So if black just captures, then the result is not very favorable for black, because these two stones are practically dead. So here a better way for black to play is to actually toddy, and then ask white which side she would want to save. And obviously this side is the most profitable for white, because she would immediately be able to capture the second line stone. But black also got a lot of thickness, got eye shape, and black in the future can play this net. So black's group has pretty good influence, and now is probably the right time to pincer white, to counter pincer white, basically. So this is playable for both sides. And let's look at a variation where white does not bother making this exchange. White can actually just simply capture the corner, and black captures the outside, and white can, and then both sides can tenuki and play elsewhere right now. Yeah, and notice that black still has a cutting point here. White can probably lean on that and take that opportunity to expand the moyo on this side. So this is playable for both sides as well. But anyway, as you can see, if white jumps, black has this 3-3 point is actually it could be a pretty decent move for black, and therefore it makes a lot of sense to not create so many bad ajis with a one space jump, and instead you just play the knight's move directly. So that's it for today's lesson, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you.